So good morning, everyone. Welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name is Nick Bryant, and I'm very pleased to be joined today by Andy Myers from ABMV Limited. Hey, Andy.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Nick.
I've got to be careful because you're going to make me laugh. I know you are.
Try to not make you laugh.
So ABMV Limited are chartered accountants and business advisors, based in Tunbridge. And Andy's going to tell us his story about how it all came about, and then we're going to go into some other topics after that. But take it away, Andy. Tell us how you got into where you are.
Okay, thanks again, Nick. No laughing. So just to retread on the journey of ABMV, we started in 2003. I was a late entrant to the accountancy world. I retrained after leaving the military in the mid-90s. I qualified up in the north of England, as you can probably imagine by my dulcet tones. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I had the joy and the pleasure of going overseas for nearly 4 years, Bermuda, working for an accountancy firm over there. Took my family, as we were then, and then made a slightly wrong decision, but a grateful leap back to the UK via the Isle of Man. When I was in the Isle of Man, I realised that the next step for me was to go entrepreneurial rather than maybe work for someone else. So we plopped ourselves in Kent, primarily because it was near the M25 and near London. Family were very supportive of me. I started, for the local listeners, I started in a box room in Matfield, one of the lovely villages around here, and I worked from home, which in those days was very different to the concept of working from home now. For my first year, pulled in a few clients locally. I had some international connections, not in a grandiose way. I just knew some people who had a passport that wasn't British. And I got a small client base going. And from that, we then moved into, circa 2004, we moved to a small rented place in the High Street of Tunbridge. Yeah. Began to take on some staff and people, and despite my charming personality, those original team members remain with us today. So I'm extremely grateful to all my team members who are generally long serving, but those two particular gentlemen started with me almost at day one. We were on the High Street number 177 in Tunbridge. A year later, we moved to 175, and that has been our home since then. So 2003 origins of the company, 2022, so we're nudging, if I can be an accountant with my fingers, let's call it nearly 20 years.
Yes.
So we are getting there. We're currently a team of 9. I am the principal, but we have now getting slightly into subject matter, but we specialise across all SME type of businesses, entrepreneurial, high net wealth locally. We have being a little bit grandiose again, we have divisions: personal tax, bookkeeping, limited company support, payroll, company sec. But we also do forms of SME consultancy around exit planning, valuations of businesses and things like that as well. For me personally, like most entrepreneurs, it's been stop-starts. Not stop-starts, but there've been ups and downs and stresses and highs and lows. I was talking to a very good friend of mine last night and explaining at the age of 52, looking at the camera, I know I don't look it, age of 52, I've got my gusto back, and I'm looking forward to probably working actively for let's say the next 12 to 13 years, because I love it. I get up in the morning and I'm still smiling. Even when I'm with you.
The honesty is the best approach.
Absolutely. And I even look you in the eye.
That's a question I usually ask people. I say, what do you love about it the most? But you just answered that, so that's cool.
Probably like most entrepreneurs, there'll be times when it's not been like that, but at the minute and for the last couple of years, I've genuinely felt very happy. I'm very fortunate. I must reiterate this for a team that's been very supportive of me, but also very supportive of us and our business, and by context, our client families during COVID. So I think on the back of that, you've got to take your small mercies and be very grateful.
Definitely, absolutely, so we're moving into sort of new times as well at the moment, aren't we? For whatever reasons that might be, and businesses have got to change with the times and move on. So what's new for you guys in 2022?
2022.
Yeah.
Not 20 past 8.
No.
Yeah, 2022. So we are still a small company, but within it we've got some quite, as I mentioned, we've got some silos of businesses. So what we're going through at the minute, and actually we as a team have got an away day next month. I won't spoil all the surprises of that from a team, but we're being slightly long range. We are looking at our strategic plan, big word.
Yeah.
I can't spell it, but strategic plan till 2030. So it's another 7.5 years. Why? One, I think COVID shut the world up and maybe sort of changed how you would have thought prior to that. Secondly, I and members of my team, we're all getting a little bit older, a little bit more wiser.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more broader. That's just me only, not my team. So we're starting to think about what really the next 10 years look like as a business. So within that strategic plan, and again, I don't want to overspoil the surprises, we have a missive mission to become the number one SME advisor in TN9.
Okay.
That if someone caught me in an elevator,
Yeah.
that would be, what is your plan for the next 7 years? A couple of things around that. Clearly, you can't accurately measure that you are number one, unless you're Manchester City with Liverpool beneath you. You probably can't define, and I'm a Mancunian, so I had to get that one in. You probably can't always measure yourself as number one, but culturally in my business and on our high street, in our personas as people working within the firm, in our culture, I want us to move to a thing that we believe we are certainly at the top of our tree as an SME advisor in TN9. Now, that's no differential to TN6 Crowborough and Tunbridge Wells and so on, because we have clients locally and regionally, but by design, we're trying to say, look, we are on the high street, we are in the community, we are local, and we've been here for 20 years, and we've been with you, a bit like ourselves, we've been with you come what may. So we've started to engage in some community programs. So the strategic plan will roll out. As I say, the elevator pitch is that number one persona, rather than measuring us in a Premier League. I won't want to be disrespectful to other accountancy firms. No. That's not the thing. It's just where we feel as though we can be.
Yeah.
And then looking around it, as I mentioned, pre coming live, we're now back in the office.
Yeah.
We're relatively paperless. We're relatively agile. We're relatively dynamic, with the exclusion of the boss. But it's nice, notwithstanding some of the pros of working from home and dealing positively with COVID, it's nice to have people back in the office.
Yeah.
To the extent that I even got demoted to the sofa yesterday. We were that full. Not a problem for me. But whilst I wouldn't expect, in terms of our cultural fit going forward, we're probably not going to have the mentality that you must always be there between 9 and 5.
Yeah.
That's 9 p.m. and 5 a.m., guys. The reality is that we are adopting a form of hybrid working, but the office remains your working home.
Yeah.
Why? Face-to-face is still valuable.
Yeah.
This, even today, seeing your face has given me joy.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
But face-to-face still has value, and I think clients, particularly because we're deemed a trusted advisor, clients typically would like to know they can come and see us and have some tangibility around that.
Yeah.
But we're using technology, like a lot of companies using our technology, using the way that COVID has driven some of the technology. We remain ever agile, but it's really nice to be back on the high street again. So we've got this form of modern, this digital world we live in, but also we've still got things like the traditional shop sign.
Yeah, the grassroots stuff.
The grassroots stuff. That people fall over and then they sue us, but then they come in to have a talk with us.
I like that because sometimes you get with accountants, if you're going to put them in a bracket, they're in this sort of office or this block that doesn't look very approachable. You feel like you'd have to press a buzzer to get in and be allowed in. But to be
that's just for you.
No, but yes, yes. But to have a shop door that you can walk into and go, hey, I need some help with my booking or whatever it is. I think that's a really good way forward.
Yeah.
And that's obviously what you're doing.
And as I say, I think clearly, without getting too political, COVID's virtually come and gone, let's say, and we're dealing with, the world is dealing with still bigger issues again, unimaginable. So, but I think, again, for us, being local there, I really do. Maybe it's because I've reached my half century now and a little bit more. I take real solace that we're grateful just to be there and still be in the community. I mentioned my team just on that. So some positive news. We've taken on an apprentice.
Oh, right.
With a vision that we'll take on a second one.
Okay.
And when I say apprentice, they are going through the formal training program. Without being rude to the government apprentice program, we are more sympathetic to what market rate is for a trainee.
Yeah.
So I know some industries are almost aligned with pay minimum wage, but we have a view of small I investors in people.
Yeah.
So we've got one apprentice up and running with us already. He's successfully going through his accounting technician. He's our youngest serving member, less than 1 year, but all my other guys, all the rest of the team are nudging 5 years plus, with top service being 16, 17 years, which is quite scary.
How many of them are you again? How many have you on the team?
Including our IT support, who was one of my original members, we're 9.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice 9. Yeah, It means I don't have to do that very often. So, and within that, we're talking, I think, nearly 150 years of technical expertise.
Yeah.
So I'm 1 year and they're 149.
That's it. So how do you market yourself? How do you get more work? Is it lots of referral stuff? Obviously, brilliant businesses and what we're doing, but
Correct. I can probably split it down a line.
Yeah.
We're lucky because we've been around for a while. We get a form of organic growth.
Okay.
We are very grateful to clients who refer or ask Bob to speak to Mary.
Yeah.
And they give us a recommend, and we're very grateful for that. What we've actually doing, it comes a little bit more under the, albeit we've started it, is if I say that's half is half organic, the other half is we are actively now doing more direct or more aggressive marketing. Not aggressive like you must walk in the door, but as you know my team member Lou. Lou has really come on board and modernised us as an accountancy business. Yeah, that's a really good phrase. Modernised us. I sort of had these sort of slightly entrepreneurial ideas, but I sort of struggle with some of the facets of social media. I'm probably more of a Rolodex guy. I've got to get that word in again today. Look it up if you don't know what Rolodex is. But what's happening with that is we've become, I hope I'm not dropping anyone in, we're a member of the TN card, which has become very successful.
Very good,
Jess has actually done a fantastic job, and indeed this week I think won a Female Entrepreneur Award, which is brilliant. So we're one of the members of that, including users at consumer level. Local marketing, we support a couple of events at Tunbridge Castle. As you say, brilliant business. Again, being honest, we're looking to further invest in that because it's aligned with how we feel it helps us locally and in the community. And then talking about the balance between using digital, this week or in the last 2 weeks, for the lucky people in some of the TN postcodes, they might have even had a postcard flyer in their mail alongside the pizza delivery leaflets, which you please throw away. You may have found you've got a postcard from us with a photo of the team on the front last summer and a bit of what we do on the back. So the idea is it's like a business card drop, but it's a little bit more personal than the business card.
I think that's that. Sorry to interrupt you. I think that works really well because everyone's at home now. Everyone's working from home. So if you're going to market to people, go to their home, and through the door is a great way of doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I went home last night and my wife was throwing darts because my picture was on the dartboard. No, so I went out, I think, to 10. Lou's going to tell me off here, but I think it's going up to 20,000 houses and or businesses. So it is quite broad in its scope. But the idea is we're using it as a form of advertising, but we're also using it as a bit of a reminder that we're here. It does re-impress us being in the community.
Yeah, it supports that local thing, doesn't it?
And hopefully, if people don't throw it away there and then, they might put it in their their business folder or whatever, and then a couple of years down the line come through. So 50-50 on the marketing, but underneath that in the strategic plan, and interesting, Nick, or interesting for me, is we probably accepted we were slightly flatlining during COVID. Survival, when it first all started, for survival and just dealing with the chaos was probably the first. So we took an element of, I'm going to use a really good word, and some people, it's called satisficing, which is if you work it out, it's a hybrid of a couple of words. We took an element of so long as we can satisfy rather than really be explosive on a few things, that would get us through. Now, post-COVID, we again, with the marketing input there and the team having a new team member in there who's sort of young, coming through the system new, so an extra bit of resource, because my guys are never too busy, are you? You might have to cut that later for them. Then the idea is that we're now trying to achieve some growth targets.
Yeah.
And above inflation growth targets, but being relatively aggressive with a small a, because again, it's part of that plan of being seen to be number one locally. With no disrespect to the accountants, we speak to fellow accountants quite a lot in the industry.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Now, you and I play some golf sometimes, which you're better than me, obviously. If that wasn't true, you would have said it anyway, of course.
I'm just nodding. When we first started, he was better than me. That's all I'm going to say.
You play a lot more than I do now, but you also do some comedy. I mean, tell us a little bit about that. I'm not expecting you to tell us a joke, because that's the worst thing, isn't it? Go on, tell us a joke.
No, absolutely is. Yeah, but just for the record, my golf is not my comedy. But your golf is my comedy. There we go. There we got my joke.
That's it.
No, I have a passion for golf. One of the first scenario. Well, the first time we ever met was actually through a network event on golf. So I have to say that because it validates my golf membership to my team. But golf for me, middle age, family are slightly older, was a great way of just taking a bit of time out, blue sky thinking, the Americans would call it, but someone having a pastime that allows them maybe just to step away from their own role in a business. They don't have to be an entrepreneur, is a great one. And I got the love for golf 10 years ago. And as I say, it was one of the first times we sort of spoke actively was on a golf course. You were very good then, but you get a bit older now, Nick.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I've gone the 5-0 as well now.
Yeah, yes. It's a good age to be. The stand-up comedy, clearly I will never be a professional stand-up comedian, but in the days of me drinking, because I am sober now, and I endeavour to be sober for the rest of my life, but when in my days of drinking, I buffooned to a very good friend of mine when he was asking what I wanted for my 50th, what I wanted, and I said I'd love to give stand-up comedy a go. Obviously, in the melee of the wine that followed, forgot about it. A month later, I turned 50, and guess what? A voucher turned up. Then COVID came, thankfully, so I thought the voucher would die and go away, but no, the voucher remained active. So recently, I did a stand-up comedy weekend.
Amazing.
Including doing what was meant to be a 5-minute skit on a Sunday night. To about 80, 90 people in a pub function room above the pub. I was the only sober one there, thankfully. Massively challenging, even if you're used to a bit of public speaking, and I'm not a massive public speaker, but it took me away from a comfort zone, and I took real value in it, and it gave me, it was something I'd do in my weekend, and to contrast it from maybe a few years back where I was maybe going out and having a drink. But it was really good. Met all types of people, but you also realise to be respectful to the comedians you see on TV or anyone you see who does proper stand-up, you realise how good they are. Yeah,
and how tough it is and how good they are. But joking aside, all that sort of stuff is really important for moving forward within your business or life. Just having something else on the side that you enjoy doing, whether it's golf, whether it's trying yourself or testing yourself, it's important, isn't it? And as a business advisor, I would have thought you'd endorse that, wouldn't you? Yeah.
We would, and as I say, the comedy, whilst I may do a little bit at family events. I'm not going to go down that track, but it's intrigued me because it was so creative for me. But going back to the business, we've got to keep moving forward. As you know, we have a sister business called Transworld that helps entrepreneurs buy and sell businesses.
Yes.
So what we're doing under the strategic plan that I referred to earlier is, whilst I think most people, consumers or business clients will be able to list what a typical accountant does.
Yeah.
And we, our services are typical of the industry, because that's what accountants do, it's what doctors do, and so on.
Yeah.
But what we've got, I suppose, in our consultancy offering, or what we're trying to do is within that SME space, is extend ourselves in this plan, trying to deal with the changes of the world and the economics of the world and the digitalisation of the world. But within it, we have this consultancy program, which informally we call the 4 Ps, and it's around people, projects, planning and property.
Okay.
And to give you a flavour, people might be someone who's cross-border, so probably maybe a bit of a topic at the minute, but EU, non-EU passports, Australian, British. Property speaks for itself. A lot of people divest into property. Planning, Nick, you're not getting any younger. What are you going to do? How are you going to exit your business?
Important part.
So what I was talking on earlier about the buy and sell, looking at your strategic plan, and then the last one I think was planning, which for us is tax planning.
Okay.
But if you put tax planning up on a banner, it doesn't look as exciting as just planning.
True.
But the idea is with entrepreneurs is look at their wealth, deal with probably some of the channel partners who indeed are also BRILBIZ members, and the idea is say, well, this is what your future can look like. This is what we can do from a fiscal perspective or your business wealth perspective, but then talk with other advisors around what that means, like around their retirement and their pension pot and things like that. So the 4 Ps, that's informal language for today. Okay. But it's a nice, easy way of remembering our consultancy. Yeah,
very nice. The 4 Ps there. We'll remember that. And so thanks, Andy. That's been great. Thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been great to see you as always, and good fun as always. And if you need Andy for anything, if you want any advice on business or on accounting, then all his details are on the Brilliant Businesses website. Anything closing, Andy? Anything you want to say?
No, I just want to say thanks, Nick. And
pleasure.
It's not very often in front of a microphone, so I'm just going to go, taxi for Myers. I've got to leave the building. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you very much, everyone. Speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.